The next CSS property we're going to learn about that's applied to flex items is flex basis. And so when you hear flex basis, I just want you to think, okay, that's like width for flexbox items. It's how you set the initial size of a flexbox item. And so flex basis, flex shrink, and flex grow all kind of work in unison. And I could say flex basis, this is 600 pixels wide, this item. And I could have 3 items that are all like 600 pixels wide. And so when, it starts out, or when they have the ability, they're going to be 600 pixels wide. But if there's not enough space, then they'll flex shrink in relationship to each other. Or if there's extra space, if there's more than 3 times what I say, 600 pixels each, 3 times 600, if there's more than 1800 pixels, they'll then flex grow in relationship to each other. So it just kind of gives a point from which flex shrink and flex grow kind of take off, right? And then it sets a width. If you happen to be right at the amount of width that, is needed for their flex basis, then no growing and no shrinking occurs. So this is the MDN in description. Flex basis specifies the flex basis, which is the initial main size of a flex item. The property determines the size of the content box unless specified otherwise using box sizing. Do not look at the description here at CSS tricks. This part of the description is pretty good. And then just like falls apart and gets super confusing. And they recommend that you go look at this graphic, which is just like, I think, way too much detail, and just stick with the way I described it. And you don't have to know all the super nuances at this point, or ever, maybe. So we have 3 HTML files. I'm here in flex basis, right? Whoops, not that one, but right there, flex basis, and all that stuff right there. And those 3 HTML files are all the same, okay? And then I have 3 CSS files corresponding to each of those. So we'll look at the first one. So here is the flex container, body, flex container, so we say display flex. Then we have 3 divs, all with a border, a height, and a flex basis of 400 pixels. And then if they have class flex 1, they grow and shrink 1, 1. Flex 2, grow and shrink 8, 8. So this is going to be like, 8/9. This is going to be 1/9, right? When it grows, that's the proportion to each other. And likewise for shrinking. So we should see bigger changes for flex 2 in the middle. And when they're right at 1200 pixels, no growing and no shrinking. So when we preview that, there's the first one. And I'm going to go into Developer Tools, Control-Shift-I, and size this down. When I do that, you see right up there in the top right corner, right here, gives me my width. So when I go to 1200 pixels, wow, this is a huge screen. Just kind of hit me 4K. Right, like right there, there's no growing or shrinking. That's flex basis. Each of them are 400 pixels. I'm just wondering if that's the width of my screen, so I might need to put on right here a little reset if I want that to be absolutely accurate. And that reset would be HTML, body, padding, 0, and border, and then margin, 0. And then that's going to drop this Control-Shift-R. You'll see this line right here drop to the edge. And now those are at 1200 each, 400, because there's no extra space. So there's no growing or shrinking. But now that I grow, you can see, hey, there's some flex growing going on. They are growing disproportionate to each other. And when I get back to 1200, right, no shrinking going on. They're all equal. And right there, 1200. And then when I do get less than 1200, then they start shrinking disproportionate to each other. So that's how flex basis, flex grow, and flex shrink all work in relation to each other. Notice, and I'll just take that off. Notice on the second example, I say flex basis 33%, right? And in this example, right, flex basis always sets the width. The 3 flex items in this example are always 33% each. Flex grow and flex shrink do nothing because basis I set 33%. In this one I set 400 pixels. So there's like that one little point where there's no growing and shrinking right at 1200 pixels. But here, 33% is always, they could figure that out. It's always going to be 33%. So flex grow and flex shrink do nothing. And you can see at a wide, wide or short, they're all 33%. So you just kind of logically think about it. And then we have the last example here where I have flex basis auto. And all flex basis auto means, so this is exactly like the first example, 1818, 1818, and flex base is 400 pixels, right? 400 pixels. And then here, flex base is auto. Auto says, hey, what is my width? It's 400 pixels. Okay, that's what this is going to be. That's what auto does. So that is flex basis. And there's a shorthand property, since we're just covering each of these individually. And the shorthand property for flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis is flex. And we're going to see that in the next video.